got to stand up strong, think the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the show. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE, Jesse, Jesse. The biblical question for this week. And again, these biblical questions is to encourage you to get to know yourself. Know thyself is the beginning of freedom. Know yourself. The biblical question: what sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? Think about that. Everybody and their mama fighting today. Everybody. Just everybody, really. And no one seemed to pause to ask, well, what sense is it making to fight anything or anyone? It's an amazing question. We have every way. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about, busy, working out, whatever you might be doing, you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us, JLP Talk, on Twitter, and rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. Rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. Happy Men's History Month. August is Men's History Month. Happy Men's History. In the third hour today and every Wednesday, third hour, Manhood Hour, rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. By rebuilding the man. I have said over and over again, and I will continue to say it, that our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil, and everyone, every human being on this side of heaven has the same problem. It's spiritual. It's not about race. No such thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Allahu Akbarism, Debidaism, anti-Semitism, or white supremacism. No ism, Islamophobism. It is interesting to me now, because I didn't know a while back, a long time ago, that how the devil works, how he operates, and what he's cleverly done through human beings, because evil lives in human beings. That's why human beings treat each other so horribly. But it's clever how he has covered up the spirit of evil with words. Words like racism, white supremacism, anti-Semitism, Allahu Abbaism. It's interesting how he used isms to cover up words. I mean, to cover up the wicked, evil spirit that he is. It's mind-blowing. And if you pay attention to the children of the lie, the world, that's all they ever do. They always coming up with words to cover up evil. And in that way, you don't see what's working through you as evil. And you don't see what's working through others as evil. You see it as some type of fancy name or fancy word that someone gave it. Like the word white supremacist, for example, or anti-Semitism. Those are just words to cover up evil. And it gives evil people the permission to go after other people. Like the blacks are blaming white people for their failure, and they call it white supremacism. And so when other people want to get what they want, they join forces with the blacks to attack the whites by using the word white supremacy. And then the blacks think that the people who join forces with them care about them, but they don't. They're just joining forces to get what they want. Same thing with anti-Semitism. There are whites who are now blaming the Jews, and the Jews are blaming somebody else. When in reality, now in the illusion, you blame others for your failure, but you don't get anywhere with it. You think you're getting somewhere, but you're not. You're not growing at all. You might get a few material things from it, or a so-called position in government or schools or at a workplace or something like that, but that's nothing. Inwardly, you're still miserable. But if you can see that blaming someone else as an adult is evil, it doesn't help you at all. And you will see that misery love company. Evil people love hurting other people. And it's all over the place now because they've covered up evil. And most people are not overcoming that abnormal nature of evil and returning to their normal nature of love, which is of God. You hear these, there's a lot of talk now about LGBTQ stuff and cutting off body parts of children and replacing them with fake body parts and people fighting over that. They're fighting over so-called climate change and just a mess. And nothing is getting better, it's only getting worse for the ones who are fighting about those things. And the people, they still vote for the people that are going to bring them misery. They complain about the misery, but they vote for people who are going to bring them more misery because human beings, not all but most, love their misery. They love their hell. They love it. What a mess, huh? You hear about mothers, especially mothers. You don't hear it a lot from the fathers, but you do hear it sometimes. They are complaining about what's happening in the schools, especially the public schools. And yet, what do? They send their kids to the public school anyway. And they know that the teachers, not all the teachers, of course, but they know that most of the teachers are going to do what they want to do to the children, cut off their paws and tell them not to tell the parents and all that anyway, right? But they still send their children there because they don't. First of all, they don't love the children. They just love the mothers love the attention they get when someone think that they are fighting for the children, and yet the mothers go to work. They put the kids in daycare centers. They use the school for daycare centers, and then they keep voting for the same people who let you know that they have no love. You cannot trust an angry person. An angry person is a murderer, not only to themselves, but outside themselves toward others. And it's weird how these people keep, I mean, not weird, I understand it now, they can't see, right? They're blind. And they want to keep their misery going, so not only do they not overcome it within themselves, but they put it on others so they can keep it alive. They want others to bring them misery, and they go to them and give misery, give hell. Are you still sending your children to public school? And they're not our children. Your children does not belong to anyone but you, the man and the woman that made the children, the father and the mother. They don't belong to anyone else. That's another cover-up saying to cover up hell. When we were growing up, there was no saying that said, our children. Our children. The parents were responsible for their own children. And now the government and these working so-called mothers and others are saying, our children. You hear it a lot. And I'm like, when did they become our children? Parents, teach your children in the right way to go, and when they grow up as adults, they'll be fine. When they go out into the world as adults, they will be fine. But these people vote in the same people. They love their hell. They love to fight. Are you still sending your children to a public school? The Blaze is reporting that Tim Hernandez, a Marxist teacher in Colorado, was voted in to fill an open state House representative seat on Saturday. On Saturday, the teacher has previously called for a forceful cultural revolution against whiteness. Watch this from Fox and X.
Tim Hernandez is a teacher at Aurora West Preparatory Academy in the Aurora Public Schools District, according to his website. He has signaled that he was including lessons on communist theory in his classroom. Hernandez also said that theories should be implemented into tangible actions, including in schools. Am I denying the freedom to uphold white supremacy? If so, I'm in favor of that denial. White supremacy is currently upheld by force. So yes, I'm advocating a forceful cultural revolution wherein we assert the dignity of life for all at the expense of white supremacy. If white people spent half the time they spend trying to distance themselves from their whiteness, and instead spent it actually deconstructing systems of white supremacy, where would we be?
Amazing. And they voted him in, according to the Blaze, this past Saturday as State House Representative. Do you think that if a white teacher has said that about any other race, especially a black race, that he would have been voted in as State House Representative in Colorado, Denver, or anywhere else? Do you think that would have happened? How will your hell end if you don't take responsibility and overcome it? How will the country get better? My country get better if we don't unite as one? If we keep being divided within ourselves and outside of ourselves, how will it get better? America was once an amazing country because it was united as one. I remember when there was a time when they were fighting in America to make English the primary language because so many foreigners was coming in, and they were trying to make all other language official as well, and erase the English language, to be honest. And they were fighting to keep America English as the number one standard language in the white man's country. Do you hear that discussion anymore? You forgot about that fight. Some of you probably never known about it, especially younger people. But one time there was a real fight for America. Now that is over for the most part. A few people still fighting for it. The Great White Hope, for an example. But that's gone now. What do you think this guy going to do now that he's not teaching with that attitude, but he's a state house representative? What do you think is going to happen? Where will you pause and see what's going on around you so you can see how to deal with it in the right way? Or do you just love going out arguing about it but really don't want it to change? And where will the men take over again? Because in all honesty, it's not going to go back to normal if the men don't take over again. It's not in the nature of the woman to do it. It's not in her. Women were created to follow, and men were created to lead, ordained by God, and nothing else is going to work but that. You can pretend, you can say it will, but it won't. Some of you might remember Representative Steve King, a Republican from Iowa. Well, at one point he fought for English only in Iowa. And guess what happened? The Republican got rid of him. They call him a white supremacist. The Republican. You can't fight for America now unless they go after you to seriously stop you. And just think about that. The white man founded, created the greatest country on this side of heaven with the help of God, and now they're erasing everything that he's done. And if he step up to the plate to stop it, not only does the non-white race go after him, but the white race go after him. The white race go after him in their own country, against their own people. And what do you think going to happen? Check out Africa. Mommy Africa, the same thing happened over there. And the white man ended up giving up all the stuff he's done in the big cities around there. And they move out to the land, to the farmland. They say, okay, y'all can have all this. We're going to leave everything for you. We're going to go back and just become farmers again. All right, we're going to go. Don't worry about us. We're way out here on the farm. And what happened? The blacks followed them out there. They tore down everything the white man had built it's in the cities, and they went out to the farmland, and now they're trying to tear them down out there. That's evil. It's a spiritual battle. I want to urge you, do what you want, but stop using the language of the children of the lie. Don't use the same language. It's spiritual. It's not racism. It's not the ism, right? So why don't you stop saying it? You're saying what your enemies want you to say. Not only inside of you, but outside of you. Inside of others. How will you defeat evil if you sound like evil? Use the same language. I've said over and over again, and some people are catching on to this, no such thing as racism. I want to give you a perfect response to that, to the word racism. This is from the Daily Star UK and New York Post. There was this guy by the name of Israel Adesanya, whatever, it's an African. Is that an African name? Israel unleashed an inward rant against his next title challenger, Dricus Duplessis. You can tell that these people are not American. What the? So he unleashed his inward against his challenger, Dricus, right? And these guys have a long-standing feud over African heritage. The UFC president, Dana White, did not entertain a question about racism following the confrontation. Watch this from Bro Bible.
You know, somebody's going to get in their face and get aggressive with them again after they just got done getting out of a war. But Adesanya and I had a debate over it, and he promised me that nothing crazy would happen, so we did it.
You know, I know you say, hey, this is the fight business. People say nasty things, right? But the tension between those two and kind of the racial undertones and all those things, how do you...
What were the racial undertones?
Dricus says he's the real African fighter, and so, you know, Israel drops some N-words in there tonight.
So what was the racial? Who did? Who dropped the racial?
Israel was saying over and over, yeah.
He's black.
50 N-bombs in there.
Okay, he's black. Who gives a shit?
I was going to say, so you don't have any concern about the way the build-up, the tension between those two?
I could care less. This is the fight business. Israel Adesanya can say whatever he wants to say. Who gives a shit? Why are people bitching about that?
Some people.
Of course they are. Oh, all right, got it. Yeah. Too bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. A black man was using the word, and some stupid reporter get up and ask a stupid question about it. I really like the way that Dana responded to it. When will you stop using the language of the deceiver? They call you an alcoholic. Then you start calling yourself an alcoholic. They call you a racist. They're white people who call themselves racist. Can you believe that? The children of the lie have convinced them, well, you're a racist. And so they say, well, I must be a racist. Instead of doing what the UFC president did, Dana White, who gives a S? This is a fight. What the? And the stupid reporter, where are you going to respond to that? Respond to what? Dana White, like, who cares about racial undertones? Who cares about that? How long will you allow evil to distract you from real life, from reality? When will you, because nobody else can do it for you, right? it's really up to you. When will you get serious about living rather than being so into dying? Next time someone asks you about racism, who cares about racial undertone? When will you work on you? When will you overcome anger and fear? When? If not now, when? It's not going to get better until you work on you. Each individual, as adult. The parents are responsible for their children, and when the children become of age, they are responsible for themselves. They're not our children. They're your kids, your children. And in all honesty, they belong to God. He just gave them to you to watch over until they grow up adults. But when? I've never seen so many victims or people with victimhood mentalities. It's all over the place. I want you to smoke on this. White people, and not all, but most, have allowed their enemies to convince them that they are racist. Well, I can't comment on that. I'm white. I can't comment on that. I never walked in a black person's shoes before. Yes, you have. Every human being, until they're born of the Father, is walking in everybody's shoes. It's the same shoes. They're the same shoes. It's the same spirit. It's evil. And you're using the same language. I understand it, but it's mind-blowing. And you forget about evil. You don't see what's going on inside of you, in your imagination and emotions, and know that it's evil. But when you do take a look at it, you have the so-called people with degrees who are dumb as a doorknob, the so-called counselors and experts and all that. They tell you, well, is this or is that? It's climate anxiety. And you walk around like an idiot, calling your hell climate anxiety. And what do they give you for your climate anxiety? Medication. And what does it do for you? It prevents you from ever overcoming evil because now you're stuck in it, walking around like a zombie. And you can't, you're so weak now, you're afraid to get off of it because you're going to do some other crazy things. You haven't dealt with evil. And what are they doing? Making money off of you. Off of your climate anxiety. That's why they come up with all these different words and things, because they make money from it. It's all about themselves. It's all about the money. It's not about you. And yes, I understand it, but you can't blame them. You have refused to take responsibility as an adult for your own life. It's like mama telling you to stay home after 18. Oh, stay home and save some money. Mama not doing that out of love. She's doing it out of hate. She needs you there to fulfill her own ego, fake love feeling. 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment. Your super chats and phone calls. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not started a business, but you have a job, or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They are using them, and blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. Don't forget to donate and have your comments read out loud, your super chats and things like that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk and Bond JLP on Cash App. Bond JLP on Cash App. And because right now YouTube don't like us, so you can't do it there. And a great lineup today. After my show, thehakereport.com at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. The Hake, Hake report.com. And then at 9 a.m. Pacific time so Hake is from 9 to 11. And now on Wednesday, brand new show, Wow. W-O-W. Wow. Walking on Water, Hassan. Wow, Hassan. At 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. It is an amazing show, too, already. It's on fire. On Wednesdays at 11 a.m. And if you think that's something, at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. At 12 noon Pacific time. Amazing, huh? And a brand new episode of the FallenState.tv this Friday, If the Lord is Willing and the Creek Don't Rise. Brand new episode. I had an interesting discussion with Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown, he is a former lawyer, judge, and TV personality who is currently running for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
By the time I got 15 or so, I'd seen people stabbed, people shot. It was like being in a war zone.
How did you manage to survive all that?
How well you meet that danger with courage, that's what determines what kind of person you are. The biggest threat you have right now is the rainbow religion.
What is the solution to all this mess?
Being brave and courageous, it's up to us. Nobody's gonna do it for us.
The FallenState.tv at 12 noon Friday. It was very interesting. He's from the old school. Old school. He is not a victim. It's interesting how we were growing up. When we were growing up, victimhood did not exist. Even if you went home after school crying, they wouldn't accept, the parents didn't accept that. They prepared you for the face the evil world out there. And everyone that has anger is evil. no matter who it is. So check that out, all right? And don't forget, and you got to overcome victimhood. And I often wonder, and not all blacks, because believe me, there are so many blacks who are waking up now. There are so many who have finally, for whatever reason, realized this ain't working. Blaming others, playing victim is not working. So I'm wondering, and then I get to your calls and super chats. Which direction will the blacks go? Have you ever wondered that? Which direction will they go? Watch this from Zero Hedge. An indictment in Georgia that was clearly timed for maximum political damage has galvanized typical Trump supporters and triggered a surge in support from black people. I see black people, from black people, and the central Democratic constituency. Watch this compilation.
I'm here to support President Trump. You want to know why I'm here to support President Trump? Because they done did black men like this for decades. Make up charges and put them, so I know Trump is innocent.
What do you think about the indictment?
Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit. Fannie Willis, she went to school with my sister. She full of shit. She was full of shit then. So she's a puppet for the white liberal.
If you can't openly see that this is an attempt to make someone have to spend a bunch of money and fight cases while they run for presidency, put your ego down for a minute and be honest. Forget your political affiliation. Just be an honest human. This is weird.
Lower income blacks that the Democratic establishment has been holding on to, even they're starting to see through the bull crap.
And all y'all be talking about y'all gang. This gang. This man rolled up with all his people deep. Flew in, rolled through the city. Donald said, this ain't nothing but a little pit stop like this. Yeah, I mean. Donald said, and what? You want me here? I'm in Georgia. What's up? Say something. I pulled up. I'm going to pull up on you, Fulton County. Ride with me real quick, y'all. I got to take this ride. I got to take this flight and this ride real quick. Drop this 20 grand off to these folk since they hooping and hollering.
I'm voting for his I'm voting for that I'm voting for him. Trump is funny as hell. I'm voting for him. I'm telling you right now, make America great again.
Man, Trump was in jail, man. Wasn't no killing going on. Everybody would get money. Everybody would happy. If he get indicted, I'm still voting for him.
Donald Trump, he showed his love. And he didn't stop. 2024 Trump. 2024. If we from Baltimore.
We need him back. Biden ain't do shit for us, but brought us down. More debt, more budget. He's sending all that money to Ukraine.
Trump wanted us to get off our ass and get some money. Trump 2024.
The more you indict, the more we unite.
Trump 2024, my brother.
Let's be honest. We made more money underneath Trump than any other presidency ever.
Trump is a brother now. I'm sorry. You go to jail in Zone 6 Atlanta, you a brother.
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
What the? I told you, just watch. Watch and see how it all turns out. Have a wait-and-see attitude, really, about all things. But the Democrats are shaking in their boots now. The last thing they want is for blacks to wake up. If it wasn't for the blacks, there would be no Democratic Party. That's why they're starting to open the borders up now, wide open, let anybody come in from anywhere, and giving them free stuff, and because they know what worked on the blacks at one time. Give them free stuff and make them feel good. They got the vote. They know they're trembling because the blacks are waking up. And they got to keep the party going, so they're bringing in other folks. criminals and everything. They are shaking in their boots like 90 going north. Trump, the Great White Hope, has had a major impact on the country, including the blacks. What other president has done that before? And everything they do to try to hurt the president is helping him. It's helping him. Overcome anger, and you'll be fine as well. Know thyself. Overcome anger and fear, and you'll be fine as well. You'll walk by the light, and the light will guide you, and you will see how to deal with evil, because that's what you're dealing with. And the light will fight your battle. Amazing stuff. 888-7753-773. There is a line open if you want to jump in there. Let's go to Larry out of Indiana. Larry, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. How you doing this morning?
All is well, sir.
I just wanted to call you. I called you about a month or two ago, and I was asking you about how I should be forgiving my mother. And long story short, I did do it. You told me to don't have any expectations, and she cry, get mad, and fall out and die. And she did indeed do all that.
She died?
To make it long. Oh no, she didn't die. But
what?
To make to make it long story short, she actually called me into her room to talk about some issues that she had, and then it ended up moving towards me telling her, I apologize for resenting you, and I also forgive you for how you brought us up. I understood that you could not handle yourself, and she did not like doing that. I remember one day, my guy said he did that, and it was like throwing holy water on her. It indeed was like throwing holy water on the devil.
What did she do? What did she say?
She just got all confused and all angry, and then, long story short, it ended up getting physical because after I told her that, because I'm 18 now, I told her that I'm moving out, and she did not like that. So me telling her that I apologize for resenting her and telling her that I'm moving out, it just set her off. So
wow,
it got physical. She was putting her hands on me. She even went outside and ripped the plates off of my car. I'm not even gonna lie, I've never seen such strength. I had metal plates. There were Texas plates. She lifted them up off of my car and literally ripped them off. So I ended up having to call the police. I had to call the police. They eventually came, and I was able to get all my clothes and stuff out, and I made a drive from Texas to Indiana, and now I've been here in Indiana. I got here, and I had a job within the first week. And I kid you not, it was like a switch. I was always so insecure and so shy and trying to be like the antisocial type, always emotional, taking everything personal, everything personal. And it was just like, after that, it was just so easy to just look at things, listen to these thoughts come and just have no emotions toward it, have no feelings towards it. Just look at it and just let it go past. Who cares?
That is amazing, man.
Yeah, definitely amazing. But I actually had to call you for something else.
Let me just say this.
I did just...
Hold on. Don't forget, but let me add, that's amazing that your mother carried on in that way, though. I've heard real bad reactions from mothers when the adult children forgive her, but I never heard of that before.
Oh yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, my mother, she's kind of strong too, but I'm a boy, so she put her hands on me, and I didn't put my hands on her back, but I did push her off in one good time, and she really felt that. And, she chased me outside and all this whole crazy stuff.
Wow,
saying a whole bunch of evil stuff. Oh man, oh man, it was bad. I definitely had to call the police, and I had my woman, my sisters and everybody telling me, like, oh, well, you didn't even have to call the police. And not only did I call the police, but when I called them and they got there, she got to lying. Like, they got there and she was like, I was trying to let him take his stuff and he didn't want to take his stuff, and like just lying. And I didn't say nothing. After I told her that, before I probably would have took it personal and be like, "Oh, you're lying, you did." But as she was telling the cops, she just trying to make me look bad. Tell them about how I stole some money from her in the 8th grade, how I'm an ungrateful kid, this and that. I just walked in, walked out, walked in, walked out, got my clothes, and just left. No words.
Beautiful. That is an amazing story, man. That's mind-blowing. Well, I'm glad that you forgave. How old are you now?
I'm 18.
Wow. That's a mind-blowing story to me. But right on, and don't resent her. You go on with your life, and if you stay with the prayer and watch those thoughts, you haven't seen anything yet. Now that your heart has changed from anger to love, the rest is going to be easy, man.
Yes, sir.
Amazing story. But go ahead. You had something else.
Okay, so I had to ask you. I have an uncle, and the fentanyl thing. He took fentanyl. Well, he didn't take fentanyl. Somebody laced his blunt. They laced it with fentanyl a couple years back, and before then, he was just an amazing man. I was always there. I never had a father around, so my uncle, I was always around my uncle. I really looked up to my uncle. But after that, he just turned crazy, and for all these years, my mom and these doctors, they've been trying to stuff him up with all this medication and all these pills and put him in all these homes, and none of this stuff worked. And I always wanted to be the one who brought my uncle back, but I don't know how. I don't know how I should go about it, because I just seen him not too long ago. He's out here homeless, walking the streets, and he's just crazy, like talking to imaginary people and all this so crazy stuff. And I just want to know, is there any way that you can bring someone back who's so lost like that?
In all honesty, there's no way you can do it. No human being can bring another human being out of their hell. You can point them toward the source that will bring them out from within. They have to forgive, and they have to be still and come out of imagination and all that. They have to work on themselves, but you won't be able to do that. If you do run into him, just let him know he need to drop the anger. If he may be so far gone, he won't even hear that at this point. But,
oh no, yeah, he's really far gone.
Well, there's nothing you can do but wish him well.
Ooh. Yeah, I used to feel bad when I used to see him. This last time I didn't see him. Last time I seen him, I didn't really feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, he is his own man. He does have to handle his feet by himself, but I am in a better position, so it would be nice to know if I could help, but
no.
Yes, not.
And you're right not to feel bad for anyone, because feeling bad for someone, what good that's going to do them, and what good would it do you, right? It's enough to see the condition that they're in, but it does no good to feel anything about it. It just really, it will pull you back into the darkness. We don't have a right to feel bad for anyone. If you notice, God doesn't feel bad for anyone. He'll just let you suffer. He'll let you walk the street talking to yourself on fentanyl. He will just let you die that way. But if you if you reach out to him, you realize something wrong, and you want to overcome, he'll show you how to overcome. But until you do that, he'll just let you stay in your hellhole. And so I'm glad that you didn't feel bad for him either, because if you get into that emotionally, then you try to help him, and he'll end up destroying you.
Yeah.
Amazing, huh?
Amazing.
You can't even help your own family members. You can't help, a husband can't help his wife if she doesn't want to be helped, if she's not ready to overcome. A wife can't help the husband if he's not ready. You just have to work on you and to let the light shine. And it's up to everybody on their own to take that straight and narrow path. So be careful with that, because Satan just said, oh, look at your uncle. Remember how close y'all used to be? Remember how much you loved your uncle? You had no daddy. Your uncle was there.
Oh, man, it was one good day. I had all those thoughts.
Yeah.
Man, I was crying and all tears and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had to get over that stuff.
Yeah, be careful with that, because the devil puts you in that state of mind, And then he would, oh, why don't you let him come over for dinner? Why don't you help him? And he'll end up destroying you.
That is truly amazing.
And you'll end up destroying your home, stealing your money, and all kinds of things, man. So don't fall for that. It's enough to see his condition, but it's evil to feel bad for him. All right? Feeling bad for yourself doesn't even work. As long as
I noticed the feel bad to feel good and the feel good to feel bad thing. I really noticed that.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing when you can actually see. I'm going to definitely call you back because I could really talk to you for hours, man. When I hear people talk to you and they just can't see, I'm very thankful that the first time I watched any of your videos, I was able to see the very first time that you were telling the truth.
God is with you. And
I'm truly proud of that because I honestly just don't know how people are so blind. It's just almost amazing.
And that seeing, when you were able to see, that is the voice of God. You know, God said, my children shall know me by my voice. His voice is a voiceless voice. His voice is the light that allows you to see, and it makes sense, and it set you free. The voices in your head, whether it sound like your voice or someone else, is evil. The voice that has your uncle walking
Jesse, I don't mean to cut you off really quick, but it might get a little staticky. I stopped to pull over in front of this white woman's house.
Oh.
I do kind of look kind of sketchy, and she's already asked me to leave.
Oh,
so I'm going to go ahead and pull off because she's taking pictures of my car now.
Right on. Go ahead. Stay with the silent prayer and call me again, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And don't resent the white woman that's asking you to leave because you know.
100%. I totally understand. I do kind of look sketchy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a young black teen, and I'm, kind of ducked off in my car.
Okay. Well, call me again about it. Amazing story.
Amazing. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too, buddy. See how he's dealing with that situation right now? He said he stopped off to talk on the phone, but he looked a little sketchy. The white woman told him he got to go and take a picture of his car. And instead of getting mad and calling her a racist, he understands it. And he's not affected by it. That's deep. And he's 18 years old. Now will you overcome the anger? That's living proof right there. You could be in the world and not affected by the world. In it, but not of it. But you got to clean up your world first within. You are your world. Everything starts and ends with you. 888-7753-773. Oh, man, I was about to get to Super Chat and then more calls. But I got to take a break now. This hour went by just like that. That was an amazing call from Larry, an 18-year-old. He can now see. Amazing! You got to forgive, folks. And the earlier you do it in life, the more hell you will avoid. The later in life, the more hell you're going to get into. You can't help it. Hate news, not the fake news. 2 more hours to go. I'll be back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven.
Idalia, a beautiful woman, a terrible storm. This is the end of hour one of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023 AD. Happy Men's History Month. Just 2 more days to go. That's today, if you count today, and tomorrow will be the last day of Men's History Month. And then the rent will be due. Stay tuned for hour 2. Jesse Lee will be right back. But first, Hake news, not fake news. Twitter, actually better known as X, better in my opinion anyway. The platform formerly known as Twitter said that they will allow political ads again, according to Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, for the first time since 2019. The announcement comes after... It's funny because they promote liberals just consistently all the time. Well, maybe less so now. The announcement comes after its owner, Elon Musk, criticized how the platform's previous so-called leadership handled political discourse, including claims of censorship, is the words from CNN. Meanwhile, CNN is all over the book bans of degenerate propaganda, calling that censorship. Give me a break. Hurricane Idalia, according to the far-left females at the Skim, is set to make landfall within hours. What do we need to know? Well, I don't know if we need to know anything, but the Category 4, it's a Category 4 hurricane, at least it was as of some hours ago when this came out, was predicted to hit Florida's Big Bend region between 6 and 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's already passed. So maybe it's already hit, huh? Parts of the Gulf Coast were bracing for a potential storm surge of up to 15 feet and up to 8 inches of rain. Storm surges, I guess, are big waves, right? I guess. Storm winds are already up to 130 miles an hour as of this morning, maybe faster now. Around 1.6 million people were ordered to evacuate. And there was a caller on American Anchor Baby who did not evacuate. He's tough. Nice. I don't know if it's... Well, anyway, I already told you about that. Those not told to evacuate are advised to stay indoors, safer at home. Cover windows and doors, make emergency supply kits, and be ready to leave. Parts of Georgia and South Carolina also under warning for severe flooding. Is it that bad? We'll see. But weather experts are calling the storm unprecedented for the region. Governor Ron DeSantis, DeSanctimonious, Republican, warned residents to remain vigilant. Sounds like good advice. The news comes amid other unprecedented weather this summer in Greece. Wildfires raged for over 10 days that are now the largest in the history of the European Union, the EU, which is only 30 years old or something like that? 20 years old? The EU. Makes me want to spit. Covering an area the size of New York City. More than 21 people have died in the flames, 18 of them so-called migrants. The far-left females at the Skim say last month was the planet's hottest on record. They've only been keeping record not that long, but it's okay. Now, as we head into the fall, hurricane season is only halfway through, and scientists are warning more could come. And then gas prices are up, right? Or going up. Thanks a lot, Sleepy Joe. The storm that's threatening to cause widespread flooding in Florida and up the East Coast may also cause a spike in gas prices nationwide, if you want to call us a nation anymore. Idalia's impact could take gasoline refinery facilities offline and may limit some of the Gulf oil production and supplies, so say experts. Plus, demand for gas is expected to surge as residents of the impacted areas evacuate. Many drivers in other parts of the country are also filling up their vehicles ahead of Labor Day weekend, beginning of September, right? Pushing demand for gas even higher. The national average price is already $3.82 a gallon, which may not sound like much if you're from SoCal, but it's actually a lot. Analysts say the extreme weather conditions and a jump in summer travel could mean gas prices remain elevated well into the fall. I'll tell you about human smugglers among the immigrants in the next hour, reported by CNN. But now, back to JLP, Hour 2. Your calls and more great stories. I'm James Hake.
men have got to stand up strong. Ain't the truth about themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. Manhood Hour is coming up in the next hour. Every Wednesday, third hour, Manhood Hour. Amazing. You can get involved. There is one line open at 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. My biblical question for this week. The biblical question. What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? Amazing, huh? We have every way to watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about, whatever you're doing, anywhere in the world, we're heard around the world by everybody and their mama. But anywhere in the world, you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us. Follow us on cozy.tv/JLP. cozy.tv/JLP and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. If you did not hear the first hour, I highly recommend your podcast and hear it. And Larry from Indiana called, 18-year-old black male, called, and he talked about how he went and forgave his mother at 18. And according to Larry, all the hell came out of her. To the point, according to Larry, she got violent. He had to call the police on mama, 18 years old. And she went and pulled the license plates off his car. And he was surprised because he had them put on there a certain kind of way. It's all like, it's hard to just take them off like that. But think about that. Your mama, my mama don't like you, and she likes everyone. Your mama, your own mama gets mad because you forgive her. You understand, and you say, Mama, I understand now. I realize you couldn't help yourself. You did the best you could. I'm sorry for resenting you. You're not even accusing her. I'm sorry for resenting you. I'm wrong for being angry. And mama get mad and the hell come out. And she pull your license plates off your car, and then you're 18 years old, and you say, well, I'm moving. And mama say, no, you ain't going nowhere. You gonna stay here, and you gonna love me. and you gonna love me. Love me. Love me. And he left. At 18 years old, he left whatever state he said he was from and went to Indiana, got a job in a week. 18 years old. But what's more remarkable about perfect love, God, that's perfect love. That is love without condemnation. That is freedom. And every human being can have it. But what's even more remarkable to Larry's story this morning is that Larry he said he's 18 years old, black male, 18 years old. So he pulled over there in Indiana, parked met down the street in front of somebody's house, of course, because he's on his cell phone, he wanted to talk. And he said a white woman came out and started taking his picture, telling him he got to go or something like that, taking pictures of his car and everything. He like, you know what, Jesse, I got to go. I'll call you later. This white woman is out here taking my picture. I'm parked in front of her house, and she's taking my picture. And I do look a little, what do you say, Nick? Sketchy. A black male, 18 years old, he like, I do look a little sketchy. So I'm going to go. And I'm like, okay, don't get angry. Oh, he's like, oh, no, I'm not getting angry. I understand it. And he left. That is a perfect way to deal with evil. To not judge, not get mad, but understand. Understanding only comes from God, and it's an amazing way to live. You understand, you can see. Once you become a whole instead of the divided person, you're going to be able to understand the divided people. They are divided within themselves, and they are divided outside themselves with others. So Larry, a black male, said, I'm going to leave because I understand I look a little sketchy. Now think about this. How many black people you know that would have dealt with that in that way? You black male, even a black female would have gone off. Black male parked on the sidewalk in front of someone's house, a white person's house, she comes out. He or she, black, would have jumped out of their car, yelling racism and this and that, ready to fight, and they would have been videotaping it and put it on YouTube, TikTok. And then the blacks would have come out of the woodwork, oh, look, see, racism exists. They would have loved it. But Larry, according to what he said, dealt with it perfectly. He understood. Above all things, get an understanding. When you can understand what's happening inside of you, I promise you, you're going to understand what's happening inside of others because you will be able to see. And seeing, you will understand. Isn't that amazing? You couldn't make something like that happen. Right on, Larry? A black 18-year-old male fought with mama by not fighting her, and then dealt with that situation by not fighting. I rest my case. Happy Men's History Month. That was amazing. Let the anger go, life will change for you. And whatever that white woman was thinking or feeling, that was on her. It wasn't racism. And Larry showed her love by not fighting with her, not arguing and accusing and carrying on. That's deep. Just think about an 18-year-old black male dealt with that situation with the white lady, according to him, in the perfect way. Amazing. And one last thing, and then I get to some super chats and your phone calls. And you're wondering, I can hear y'all wondering, why did his mama act that way? Mad, and all the hell came out. And she just attacked him like that, according to Larry. Went out and even took the license plates off his car. He had to call the police on mama. because he forgave her, right? She got mad. The reason for that, as I've said once, I've said twice, I said 1,000 times or more, Satan is the woman's god. That's why all that hell is in the woman. And then the hell that you see in men came from the woman. It came from mama. And that's why men are afraid of the woman. They're afraid of mama because they have her nature, which is not her nature. It was passed on from Eve. It's the spirit of evil. When Eve listened to the serpent, she would no longer listen to her husband, who listened to his father, and the Satan became her god. And that's what's happening today. But thank God for sending his son, Christ, Jesus, and it was done. Satan was defeated, and he has no power, no authority, no nothing. He just deceived you to make you think. And God tried to make that clear. That's not my voice. My voice is a voiceless voice. That's the voice of evil. And what do some people say? Oh, the Lord is talking to me. Oh, I heard the Lord say. They think they create their own thoughts. They think those thoughts are true. They think it's them, or they think it's God, or both. I've heard it both ways. Amazing, huh? But ladies, and then when Adam listened to the woman, his wife, the woman became his God. And that's why men are subject to women, because of that. But it's over now. All you have to do is get to know yourself, pay attention to the not you. You're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your body. Pay attention to that. Only pay attention to it, it will change. You will finally become a whole person, and you'll be free. No more fear, no more doubt, no more worries, no more looking for love, no more identifying with all these fake identities that made a home in you, in the mind. You're none of those things. You'll be of the light. You'll be free. And ladies, same thing for you. The devil got your mind and emotions, and he made you promote those emotions as good. And he even tell you to tell men to act like you. Men should be emotional. Men can't. It's hard on a man not to be emotional. That's a lie. It's hard on men when they are emotional. You got it backward. You got it twisted. An emotional man is a wreck, just like an emotional woman. You must be born again of the Father. There will come a day when I'll return the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. That day is now. Don't wait until Jesus come and take you up. He's already taking you up right now. Amazing, huh? That was an amazing story. Anyway, you got to go and forgive mama. Black people, go and forgive your mama. Your mama is crazy. Grandmama is crazy. And you know it. I know it. Everybody looking at it know it. Forgive her. She can help it. And ladies, you forgive your mother so you can overcome that too. Return to your fathers. It's a spiritual thing. It ain't no isms. Stop the fake identity so you can see the devil for what he is. Inside of you, your imagination and emotions, and inside of others and their imagination and emotions. Super chat.
Super chat.
Super chats.
And do the silent prayer. Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer. Is that right?
Yep.
Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer. Okay. Super chat.
Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Bought 2 coffees. Saying follow-up question. Follow-up question. I haven't found his original question, so it must have asked a question maybe by the same name. He said, I accept what you say on where willpower comes from. Now, more specifically, you said a person makes a choice to see their hell and to do something about it. Let's say there are 2 identical people with the same thoughts, and they know all the same things. How can one choose to obey Mama the devil and the other to drop all identity? Maybe I'm overthinking it. What makes one human love their hell more than the other? He asks.
Make sense out of the question?
You want me to make sense out of this question?
Yeah, I mean, tell me the question in a simple way.
Okay, what's the difference? What makes a person wake up?
When
if two people are raised the same way, one wakes up, the other doesn't.
Oh, because one loves their hell and the other one don't. One has to identify with their hell, and the other one has the conflict too. They have their hell in them, but they know something is wrong. They don't accept it. And I've noticed that in most families over the last 33, 34 years of doing this, in most, if not all, most families, there is at least one or two of the children that just don't fit in. You know, they know something is wrong. They came from the same parents, but they've been set apart. That child, for whatever reason, know that something ain't right. It's just the way it is. But then the other kids, they have accepted it because they can deal with mama, so they give in to mama to try to get along with mama as she destroys them, because now they're totally subject to her. And then that one or two, whether it's a boy or a girl and a boy, boys and girls, that don't identify with mama totally, you're going to catch pure hell, because the hell in mama is working overtime through her to bring you into the hell. And God forbid if you look like your daddy, oh God, you're going to catch hell from mama. Or if you're close to your father, if you love your father. But it just seemed that some people, I know that when I had a lot of conflict and fear and anger, I knew something raw, I just didn't know how to overcome it. And I went and asked different preachers and all kinds of stuff. I just didn't know how to overcome it, but I knew something was wrong. And I asked God to let me see, let me know myself, let me see, and that's when I started to see. And things changed. Amazing. Thank you.
Soul Conscious bought 5 coffees. Jesse, it doesn't make any sense to fight. Oh, this sounds like a biblical question response.
What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone?
Soul Conscious says, doesn't make any sense to fight anything or anyone if you're a child of God. Only the devils fight, he says.
Amazing. I will put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. Amazing.
Yeah, we got a lot of biblical question responses on the social media. Gab, Twitter, IG, Facebook.
This question?
Yeah.
This is an amazing question.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized the question because everybody and their mama fighting nowadays. Everybody fight.
Terrible.
They'll turn on one another and fight. I was like, what the? They got stupid people fighting over climate change.
I know.
And there has always been winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you got to do is call. You heard this song?
No.
You haven't?
No, I have not heard that song.
You, Hassan?
I don't think so.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you gotta do is call. I'll be there.
Maybe I have heard that.
Yeah, now that you put the melody to it.
I rest my case.
I don't know if I have or not. Maybe I have. You are a well of obscure oldies.
That was when real singing was happening. This rap crap mess, except for Hassan.
What about Joel Friday?
Except Joel Friday. He black.
How about Big Bump?
Except for Big Bump. He black. That song was by James Taylor, I think.
Nice. Sounds somewhat familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
The greatest hits.
Y'all was born at the wrong time. Anyway.
Evgeny Crosby with a couple of diamonds. Jesse, isn't it nice that those fires somehow missed Oprah and Bill Gates' house in Maui?
I didn't know that. It missed their house?
According to Evgeny Crosby, I disavow it.
They have a home in Maui? Maui.
I also disavow all climate denialism. Me too. Yeah, I guess they have homes in
But
Mount.
we
I heard about
always had-
Oprah. I didn't know about Bill Gates.
We always had climate changes. And we always had winter, spring, summer,
Hey, hey,
fall.
hey! Stop it.
Oh. Thank you.
Trying to protect your channel here.
Oh.
Mike Young bought a well, I don't know. You probably just get slapped with a Wikipedia article or UN article. It's UN nowadays.
Amazing.
Yeah. Mike Young bought a coffee. Hey, Jesse, James, Hake, and Hassan. I was just watching the movie Menace to Society. Number 2, right? From the 80s or 90s. And the worst thing you could do is talk about the Black Thug's mama. Remember that movie, guys? What you say about my mama? But you said, Jesse, mama is God in the black community.
My mama don't lie. She likes everyone.
Pardon my halting reading, Mike Young. My bag.
Amazing, Mike.
Indeed. I just saw that for the first time like 2 years ago or last year.
What? Menace
to Society?
Yeah.
While drinking a juice?
No, I never do that.
No. That's that's the part of the title.
Oh, really? Who knew?
Well, I think it's actually...
While drinking what juice?
No, I think it's a comedy spoof about Menace to Society.
Oh.
That version.
It starts off with an Asian being all suspicious of black kids. And it was justified, although he didn't help him. Anyway.
Amazing.
Ravender bought 50 coffees. Generous donation. Mother Earth revolves around the all-power sun. Earth flourishes with greenery, with the light from the sun. The water, the Father. Without the water, she would burn up in flames. The moon lights up the earth during times of darkness, using the light from the all-powerful sun. During the day, where the all-powerful sun shines, all you see is the sun. The moon blended into the light and became one with the light. Did the moon die at that time? Dark moon emoji with eyes. Amazing.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Ravender bought another coffee. So 51 coffees from Ravender. Thank you.
Thank you.
When the moon cannot be seen during the dark times, it is because the mother is blocking it. That is Earth. Getting in the way from the full glory of the full moon. Amazing.
Oh, amazing.
There is a super blue moon tonight at 9 Eastern, roughly, 6 Pacific, 8 Central.
Will it be the color blue?
It will. I do not believe it will be the color blue unless there's like ash or something
So why
in
you
the
call
sky.
it blue?
Because blue moon, in addition to being, an alternative definition is when it's physically blue, when it appears blue. But the real definition of a blue moon is when there's 2 full moons in a single month.
But they're not blue.
No.
It's just 2 full moons.
Right.
But not blue.
Right.
Why do they call it blue?
I have not looked that deeply into it
Oh.
to know why they call it blue.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tonight at 6 p.m.?
6 Pacific, 6 something Pacific, 9 something Eastern.
Go watch the blue moons.
Yeah.
Because it only comes once in a blue.
Right.
Oh, that's why they call it blue?
Well, that's why they call once in a blue moon means it's not very common for 2 full moons. And it's 2 super moons. Super moon is when it's close to the Earth. Closest to the Earth, whatever. Anyway. Unless it's Hurricane Idalia, then don't go outside. You're supposed to stay inside.
Down in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's raining down there again. What the?
The preacher's kid bought a coffee. The Sunday school teacher want all parents who signed their kids up to be part of the Jesus play to know that their children will not get a role as Jesus or any of the disciples if they're ugly or unattractive. But can they still participate in the play as a camel, a goat, or a horse? She's facing backlash from the church, but isn't backing down and saying the mothers should not blame her, but blame their baby daddies for the way their kids look. So says the preacher's kid with the coffee.
Is that real?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we're dropped into the middle of a story, kind of like a Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. I don't know if they're real, but thanks.
Cool. Zorak90 bought a coffee. What do you think of pastors, quote unquote, casting out demons and the person with demons convulsing on the floor like an exorcism? I don't believe that stuff. I think it's all an act. But curious your thoughts on it, says Zorak90 with the coffee.
It's definitely possible, but nowadays you don't know if it's really happened because some people go down to be cast out like that, and it doesn't happen, but they're too embarrassed to let the preacher know it ain't working. And so they act out as though it is working. So I don't know, but that is possible. Especially for those who believe that they see that they're possessed. Well, all people are possessed. Most people don't see it. And they know that if it can be cast out, it will work for sure.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you.
Beta No More bought a coffee. Can you please make some ringtones for the Apple phone like Beta, amazing, forgive your mother, the great white hope, etc.? Says Beta No More with the coffee.
Nice idea.
Evil is real.
Thank you.
Evil is real bought a coffee. Since you're expert, it's not that smart. That's referring to Hake with the Hake news. Just end of last hour. Storm surge is not a big wave. It is when the wind pushes on the entire coastal ocean so much it raises the sea level. Well, it's the same thing. It causes the ocean level to rise 15 feet higher in a 15-foot storm surge. It's okay, little Hakey, says Evil is real. Thank you for the information, man.
Amazing. What the?
Rumble rant from Being Enlightened Till I Rise. Morning, gentlemen. Man, JC, that man, Larry, that called was amazing.
Yeah.
18-year-old man.
Years old.
There wasn't nothing wrong with that black. I rest my case. Except that he looks sketchy sitting outside a white woman's home.
And the beauty of that situation, that he recognized that.
Yeah,
instead
it was
of being
nice.
angry and going off on her, calling her racist and all that.
Yeah.
He's like, I do look a little sketchy, so I got to go. I'm going to go. But the average black would have jumped out the car, yelled at her, screamed, cried racism while videotaping it.
And then posted on Twitter, making himself look bad in the devil's fight over it, huh?
Right.
Stan69 bought a diamond. Biden sending our money to Karan. 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 The guy in video, he says. Man, I don't know what that refers to. This went over my head.
I missed that, so I don't know.
Was there a clip you played in this video?
Of Byron sending the money to Iran? No.
It's Karan, not Iran. Karan.
I don't know. Make it clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan69.
Yeah.
A couple more coffees to go. Riley JM bought a coffee. About 4 years ago, I was living at my parents' house. I confronted my mom about something. I forget exactly what it was that I said, but she responded to me saying, "You know I don't like you, right?" I just looked at her and said, "Okay." I knew she wasn't aware of the evil spirit in her,
right.
So I wasn't angry at her. My mama don't like you, and she likes everyone. Ha ha.
My mama don't like you. She likes everyone. It's interesting that the devil has made the world believe that a mama's love is special.
Yeah, it is.
When a mama's love is evil.
It is especially evil.
Amazing.
Star Sion bought a coffee. Jesse, business is slow. Everything, no money in this country. Groceries out the roof. Canned peaches almost $3, and it's cancerous. Can GMO food. Amazing. You have to be on welfare to afford groceries.
What a mess, huh? Thank you.
And thank you, guys. That's all for now.
Thank you, Theo. Amazing. Watch out for the blue moon tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Let me take a break. When I come back, your phone calls, 888-7753-773. Thank you for the supers. Back in a moment. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry. because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. We have a brand new episode of The Fallen State this Friday, if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. I had an amazing discussion with Judge Joe Brown. And Judge Joe Brown, for those who might not know, is a former lawyer, judge, and TV personality who is currently running for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
By the time I got 15 or so, I'd seen people stab, people shot. It was like being in a war zone.
How did you manage to survive all that?
How well you meet that danger with courage, that's what determines what kind of person you are. The biggest threat you have right now is the rainbow religion.
What is the solution to all this mess?
Being brave and courageous, it's up to us. Nobody's gonna do it for us.
TheFallenState.tv this Friday at 12 noon Pacific time. 9 o'clock today, the Hake report, H-A-K-E report, from 9 to 11. And on every Wednesday now at 11 a.m., Wow Hassan, Walking on Water. Wow Hassan, a brand new show. We're building this network, so a brand new edition, one brick at a time. Wow Hassan at 11 a.m. And then at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. And thank you all for your support. We are building a 24-hour network with just all talk, all men. 24-hour, one person at a time, one brick at a time. And thank you all for helping. And we now have my show. We have the Hake report. The Hake report every day, Monday through Friday, and at 9 a.m. And then we have the American Anchor Baby at 12 noon. The American Anchor Baby at 12 noon. And then Joel Friday, he black, on Tuesday. Joel Friday on Tuesday. And then Wow Hassan on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Wow Hassan on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then we got some more coming up, lined up, one brick at a time. So thank you all for your support and for supporting Bond, my nonprofit. We have been rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man for the last 33, 34 years, something like that. And you can go to rebuildingtheman.com to continue to support us. Rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. 800-411-2663. Let me go to Liney, a first-time caller out of Kentucky. Liney, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm just a little bit nervous, man.
Amazing. Relax, it's just Jesse.
Man, I've been listening to you for a long time, you know, and all this stuff you talk about forgiving your mother, and I thought, man, it always blew my mind. I often wondered if you were my dad. Are you my daddy? Because you know my mom so well, you know? I mean, you hit the nail on the head every single time. It has been, you know, it's been long overdue. I've been wanting to call you for a long time. We've been through a lot over the past few years with losing my business and everything and leaving Illinois and moving to Kentucky. And I don't have the mountains blocking my cell signal, so I could finally give you a call and just let you know what happened that day. I forgave my mom.
What happened?
The woman's pure evil.
What happened?
All right. Well, it was Thanksgiving 2020. I had, around the time I started listening to you, I started to realize that, you know, all of my drinking was associated with her somehow. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then, you know, as you said, I just kind of, to the judge, and I just became aware that every time I hear that woman's name, I got to run to the liquor store. And so I invited my sister over, my niece and nephew, for Thanksgiving. And around that time, COVID had already destroyed my business. So the rule was no masks. There's one thing that we all have in common, even though we have somewhat of a volatile relationship. My family, we don't really get along well. That was the only rule. And then my sister says, oh, by the way, I'm bringing Mom. And I'm like, and I'm going to the liquor store. So I went and I got a half, and I threw it up on the fridge, and everybody shows up. First thing that I see is my niece and nephew walk in the door. We got their Joe Biden mask on all the way from their Adam's apple to their eyelids. And I go, you know, I already told you, that's the one rule. We're taking pictures. That is why my business was destroyed. They shut me down. I don't want to see any masks in my house. We're all in agreement. They didn't work. My sister says, well, just leave them alone. They feel safe. And I go, but you're putting fear into them. You have to see that by allowing them to feel safe that way. When you already told me you agree that they don't work. So my mom stands there and she says, I'll leave her alone. You're an a-hole like your father. Now,
wow.
Now, my dad had died of cancer a few years earlier, and I get so tired of this woman calling me and my brother an a-hole like my father. I said, the man is dead. You don't ever talk to me like that about my father. Leave him be. And the rule is you take that mask off or you guys are going to have to go. And she started cussing me out. And I told her, listen to the language that you're using on me. You're supposed to be a God-fearing woman, and you're dropping F-bombs on me. You're running my dad down to me. And she says, well, how can I be a Christian with hell spawn like you always driving me away? I go, okay. So that's the way it is. Anyway, I wouldn't back down. I said, the masks come off or you have to leave. And she goes, fine, I'll leave. And she goes to walk out the front door. She left her purse in the kitchen. And as I'm standing there in the kitchen doorway between the front door and the kitchen, she says, I forgot my effing purse. And I go, it's in there on the counter. She's a little portly woman. She goes to tuck her little fat elbows in, kind of clip me really hard as she goes to walk by into the kitchen. And as she walked by and clipped me with her elbow, she got down onto all fours and laid down on the kitchen floor, then sidled up to the edge of a cabinet. And I'm looking at her in disbelief. And I said, what are you doing? And then I'm looking at her and I go, oh, no, you don't. Get up off that floor, woman. There's nothing wrong with you. And she's laying there, and everybody in the house hears me saying, get up off the floor, get up off the floor. Well, it looks like something else kind of happened. You know what I'm saying? And this is what she used to do to us ever since she was a child, ever since we were children. She would always instigate my dad, then play the victim, and turn us against him. And it wasn't until after he was gone that I realized I never knew the man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, so everybody comes into the kitchen. She's just laying there like she's in a daze. And I said, get up off the floor. And I'm looking at everybody. And then she waited till everybody was in the kitchen and saw me standing over, laying there. And my sister helped her up off the floor. And she goes, what did you do? And I said, I didn't do anything. This woman's a liar. She's putting on. And so she's standing there soaking up all the attention, right? And my sister says, you SOB, you owe her an apology. And then it was the strangest thing, because it was like I had a calm come over me, man. And I said, you know what? You're right. I do. And I look at Mom, And I said, you know what, Mom? I do owe you an apology. I am sorry for hating your guts for as long as I have for being such a horrible parent. I realize if you could have done better, you would have. Now get out of my house. And as she started walking out the front door, she was cussing me up and down. She suddenly got a little bit of life out of that because, man, I mean, the hell really started coming out of her. Thanksgiving Day, man.
What
I'm standing there on my porch.
Dinner.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was the strangest thing because my sister was giving me lip the whole time I was there, and my mom wasn't saying a word. And I was just like, "Hey, are you going to stand in my house and talk to me like that? You know, we're supposed to be having Thanksgiving." All I asked was to take the mask off. Okay, so my mom's standing out on the street in front of my house. She's yelling, calling me, and you know, that bomb, this and that, or whatever. And my sister. Well, she said, my mom told me, one of the last things out of her mouth was, "You're an SOB." And I said, "I know I am. I'm looking straight at her." And my sister goes, "Oh, you're an a-hole." And I said, "And you're a bitch like your mother. Now get the hell off my property."
Nice.
And I walked in the house. So my wife was just looking at me. Go, "Did you hit your mom?" And I said, "I swear to God, I didn't put my hands on that woman. This is what she did to my dad." You know, and after she left, I had that half pint sitting on top of my fridge. I ain't gonna lie. I slammed it, and it did nothing for me. I struggled, Jesse, with drinking for over 20 years, and I always had that voice in my head that sounded like me, just trying to, "Hey, you did good for 30 days. Why don't you go ahead and have a sip?" But it was never just a sip.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And it did nothing for me. It actually soured my stomach. I didn't feel anything from it. And I swear, it just, the urge fell away and I never touched another drop. I just never felt the urge. Completely gone.
Amazing. That is amazing, Liney. That's why I tell people, it's not about the vices, it's about the heart, the anger. When you get rid of the anger, the nature of the devil will disappear too, because the light will get rid of that. And those are the vices. And most people focus on the vices. They think that's who they are, and it's really not. It's the heart that must change from anger to love.
Yes, and I do still get frustrated from time to time. But I mean, you know, now like when I get angry or when I start to feel that sensation, it's like you say, I just kind of become aware of it. Then I detach myself from it, and it just goes away.
Are you doing a silent prayer every morning, every night?
Now, man, if we're going to start asking questions like that, then it's not going to go where okay, no, I don't. Not like I should. And I have no excuse. I have no excuse. I'd be lying if I tried to give you one.
Yeah, I would encourage you to do that, because now that you have forgiven and you have the light, you need the light to destroy the thoughts, the imagination, the emotions, because that is the old nature. That's the nature of the devil. And God will shine that light on the imagination and emotions, and he will clear everything out, and you will have a clear mind. You're not going to be able to do that on your own. You can't make that happen. But if you stay with the light, stay present, rather than the past or future, the light will destroy the thoughts, and you'll be free completely. And then and then it will be impossible for the nature of the devil, which is anger, to come up, because it won't be in you at all. Because if not, you're still going to have those thoughts, and along with the thoughts will come different emotions, and you would think that is you, but it's really not you. But eventually, you won't have it at all. It'll be gone.
Yeah, I can really see and keep myself in check better now. But, you know, it didn't just stop there from when that woman left my house. She goes on Facebook and turned everybody in my family against me.
Yep.
I attacked her, beat her down. This is why I got to think, man, I don't know. You got to be my daddy. It's okay. I ain't mad. I love you. I'd be glad to see Jesse Lee Peterson is my daddy. Yes, he is.
That's why.
Because you just know that woman so well. Oh, my goodness. But she's telling everybody I beat her down, and she's got a scratch behind her. Now, first of all right, come on. If I want to beat somebody down, you can have more than a scratch behind your ear. And that doesn't get you anywhere. You know, I'm just too old for that.
But that's what all evil people do. Evil people cannot stand alone. The devil can't stand alone. it must build an army against you. And that's what mothers do to children. Not all
Yes.
mothers, because some mothers realize, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry, I was wrong, right? But most, they won't and they will build an army against you.
Yeah, I just unbelievable. I just wish I could have seen her for what she was before my dad passed. I mean, there was something before I found you. I mean, I did in my own way, I guess, forgive my dad, but I don't know if I said it in so many words. I didn't realize at the time that it would have been better if it was just so vague. It's like you said in an episode years ago, you were talking about how you're not telling us something we don't know. You're just reminding us what we already know. We just forgot. And everything you say makes sense. The one thing I don't disagree, or that I don't agree with that you do say is you kind of knock guys with ponytails, man. Come on, man.
You have a ponytail?
I got a ponytail. I'm working on it, man.
That's right. Amazing.
But,
Lonnie, it's an amazing car. Because of time, I got to run here, but stay with it. Stay with it. And those that turn against you with your mother, along with your mother, just know they can't see, they can't help it. It's not them, but the same spirit you overcame, it's the same thing that they have to overcome. And
it's
so,
the same demon in everybody. Yeah,
and they cannot help it. So don't get angry at them for it. Just wish them well.
No, I won't.
Amazing call, man. Call me.
I love you, brother. I really do. I mean that from not that alphabet type of stuff. I'm talking, true love, man. The truth,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
Call me again.
I'll call you again sometime.
Amazing call. Thank you.
Hey, you bet. All right. Bye-bye.
All right now. Amazing story. Forgiveness is the answer. And forgiveness is not going and asking for forgiveness. It's going and saying, I'm wrong for the way I've treated you. I'm sorry. And then God will forgive. Nowhere in the Word where it says, go and ask for forgiveness. You got that backwards too. The world have taught you everything in the wrong way that keep you in hell. 888-7753-773. Let me go to Johnny out of Texas. Johnny, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
How you doing there, Jesse?
All is well, Johnny.
I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate your spiritual views and honesty and truth about the war between good and evil. That's very, very, very important for everybody to know that there is a war between good and evil. And I just wanted to make a comment. I've talked to you before. I was the one that took you back in the good old days.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Never ask a black man if he remembers, though, okay?
Yes. But, all right. Well, my memory's not that good anymore either. But I was going to mention something about the equal rights movement. And, I know you've heard stuff about it. I think that it was the worst thing that ever happened between people of color, because when that happened, I think it caused certain groups of people to not think as individuals, and they only thought in groups.
Yeah.
And that was really, really bad, because I think if that would have never happened, and it's just what I think, that people would have continued to think for themselves, and they would have got better, psychologically, spiritually. They would have continued on to open up businesses and hire people and such as this. And when they started thinking as groups, they just stopped doing everything. It seems like the brakes were thrown on. And me personally, I wish that everybody of color, and that includes everybody, even white people, would have just continued on and just let everything fall into place. And I think we would have been a lot better off as a country. Now,
you're right.
I want to talk about.
You're absolutely right, Johnny. One of the worst things that ever happened to the blacks and our country at large was, other than abortion, was the so-called civil rights movement. If that had not happened, I personally believe that blacks and white would be more united than ever before if that had not happened. It separated the blacks and the white like nothing else has ever done.
I think we would have melded into place.
Yeah.
And everybody would have got along. They was already getting along.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like the whites woke up and thought about the blacks, or the blacks woke up and thought about the whites. It wasn't really like that.
I know.
I think it would have melded into place, and everybody would have started thinking as individuals and went on about their business.
Absolutely, man. That's amazing. I appreciate that, Johnny. Due to time, I got to run, but call me again, man. You're absolutely right about that.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to me again.
You're
and
welcome.
We'll see you later.
Right on.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. He's from the old school. The worst thing that ever happened to the blacks was the civil rights movement. That was a setup for total destruction. And the blacks have not returned yet to normal. Some are returning, but most have not. Let me go to a first-time call out of Buffalo, New York, Greg. Greg, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse.
Hey, Greg.
I am 22 years old, and I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I wanted to call and tell you about me forgiving my mother and my father.
Okay.
So, I was born in Washington State, and my parents had met in the military, and they got married at 18, both of them. They're the same age, and guess what? My mom's a couple months older. You can imagine how that went.
Yeah.
And they were in a cult together. I call it a cult now. They used to call it church. And they were doing just as you said. They were going to Bible school every day, every night, 19 services a week. They were convinced that they had to go. They had to learn from these preachers. And my dad became a preacher for a couple of months. He said it was like one of the worst experiences of his life. He thought he ruined a lot of people. And then eventually, 13 years into their marriage, they had me. I'm an only child. And when I was about 3 years old, they decided that this is awful, this isn't good, because they were trying to get rid of my mother and give them some other woman. So they left that cult, moved to Georgia, and they're a military family, so we were traveling around a lot anyways, but they got stuck in another cult. So then eventually we moved to Arizona, and my parents said they were done with the church, so they had thought that they got rid of it, but nope, it followed them, and they became addicted to drugs, and you can imagine what that's like living with that. I was about 7 years old. Then eventually we finally got out of Arizona, so no more drugs. We came to Buffalo, New York. We lived with my dad's mom, my grandma. So, and then still something wasn't right.
Great. Hold on for me. When I come back, get right to the story, because of time. But hold on, I got to take a break. One more hour to go. 888-7753-773. Hake is coming in with the hate news, not the fake news, but the hate news. I'll be back in a moment. Manhood Hour is coming up. Back in a moment. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023 AD. JLP will be right back to your calls, more great stories, and get to the remainder of the Super Chats. We do see them coming in. Appreciate them, guys. On D Live, on Rumble, on Buy Me a Coffee. But first, Hake News, not fake news. There is one line open. You can call in to get on hold, to get on air. 888-77-JESSE, 1-888-775-3773. Appreciate you guys hanging in there. Stay tight. Hang tight. Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports the FBI is investigating more than a dozen migrants from Uzbekistan and other countries allowed into the United States after they sought asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border. Uzbekistan. Earlier this year, the U.S. intelligence officials, so-called intelligence, found that the migrants traveled with the help of a smuggler with ties to ISIS. You know, that Muslim group that was cutting off heads and slitting throats and burning people alive and all that mess with propaganda videos during the Obama administration. Trump decimated them. ISIS, co-founded by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, according to Trump. Raising alarm bells across the government, according to multiple officials. No specific ISIS plot has been identified, but that's what the FBI says. The liberal FBI, which Vivek Ramaswamy perhaps rightly wants to disband. But officials are assessing all of the individuals as possible criminal threats. For some counterterrorism officials, it shows the U.S. is deeply vulnerable to the possibility that terrorists could sneak across the southern border by hiding amid the surge of migrants entering the country in search of asylum. And that's Commie Nonsense Network admitting that. CNN, they can't ignore it. Wow. Jobs, the jobs market, the number of available jobs in the United States has dipped below 9 million for the first time since March 2021. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, job openings decreased across major industries, but picked up in areas such as information and transportation, warehousing and utilities. A smaller number of workers quit their jobs, businesses hired fewer employees, and layoffs nudged higher as the U.S. job market settles into a calmer, more balanced state. There was supposedly a labor shortage, right? They needed people. Layoffs are now 17% below what they were before the China virus scamdemic, so says data. Analysts say this means the job market and the broader economy are edging toward a soft landing when inflation can be reined in without triggering mass layoffs and a recession, which they denied is actually happening already. Medicare, the Sleepy Joe Biden administration, unveiled the names of the first 10 drugs subject to Medicare price negotiations on Tuesday, including several popular blood thinners and diabetes medications. The drugs are... I'm not going to name all these drugs. You can look it up. Maybe you can check out the Hake News section of the Hake Report website. I'll copy and paste it in there, so that way you don't have to go to CNN to read it. But it's credited to CNN. Big Pharma is charging Americans more than 3 times what they charge other countries simply because they could, said so-called President Sleepy Joe Biden, a wolf in sheep's clothing, on Tuesday. I think it's outrageous. That's why these negotiations matter, because he cares about you. Yeah, right. Once set, the negotiated prices take effect 2026, though drug companies filed multiple lawsuits seeking to derail the effort. This is funny. A writer's strike is happening. And Stephen Colbert, you know, that dumb liberal, calls himself a Christian, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, they came together for a strike-focused podcast. Some of the biggest names in late-night TV were teaming up for a podcast while their shows remain on hold due to the ongoing Hollyweird writers' strike. Isn't that amusing? Somewhat amusing for me. Make sure you catch American Anchor Baby live at noon Pacific time today. But before that, we have Wow Hassan, Walking on Water Hassan, right after Hake. Hake is right after JLP. So JLP, Hake, Wow Hassan, Walking on Water Hassan on YouTube, and American Anchor Baby on YouTube. Busy day today. It's Wednesday, Hassan's second show. Nice. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP.
got to stand up strong. Ain't the truth about themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. The third hour. You can get involved by calling 888-7753. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. My biblical question for this week. What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And you can listen to the show if you're out and about on your iPhone or iPad. And you can podcast the show as well, but you can listen by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, and Cozy. TV/JLP. So it's Wednesday. Last hour of the show on Wednesdays is always Manhood Hour. What is a man? What is a man?
It's an adult human male.
Manhood. Hillary or President Trump?
I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Beta male. A man is a male who turned to man. Alpha male. Live right, be right, and lead the way.
Here's the one thing that we as men have to start teaching our sons. I now have 3 grandsons. I don't know that I've taught them to be emotionally sensitive.
For the first time, I think I somewhat understood how some women must feel when they ask their boyfriend or their husband to be more emotionally available.
I have 3 beautiful granddaughters, Ava, Isabel, and Lucia. Every time I go to a school function, I get overwhelmed.
I cry a lot too, man. I cry a lot myself. I really can't help you. Hell,
It's making you emotional. Talk about that.
Well, God, you know.
Amazing. Things have really changed. Men, it is not normal to be emotional. That's an abnormal state of being. It's not even, it's normal, abnormal for women, but it's not normal for ladies to be that way. You see how much destruction it brings? Why do you keep calling good evil and evil good? Everybody and their mama are emotional. Look at the world. Look what's happening in the world. I have some things coming up for that, but I want to finish up with Greg out of Buffalo, New York. And Greg was telling us that he went and forgave his mother. Let's see here. Greg, so you went and what happened when you went and forgave her?
Yes. Long story short, a couple weeks ago, I realized that some of my life was wrong, so I was doing a silent prayer, and it was revealed to me that by God, that I had to forgive my mother, so I had a surgery, and I needed a driver, my mom, so while I was sitting in the bed pre-op, I looked her in the eye, And I said to her that I forgive her because I resented her and I had hate in my heart towards her, and I apologize for having that hate because that was wrong. And she did what women do, and she blamed my dad, but eventually she said sorry. So that's how that went.
Nice, man. That's amazing.
Yep.
And
then, yeah.
Did you forgive your father as well?
That's right. So that was Friday of last week when I forgave my mother, and then the day before last night, I was going to, but I was shaking in my boots too much, and I listened to my thoughts, and I went home, and I had a horrible night's sleep. But then last night, even though I was shaking in my boots, even though I was getting in my car to leave the office, me and my dad work together. We have our own business together. I was going to my house that I bought a year ago. So I live alone now.
How old are you?
Now, I'm 22. I got my first house.
Right on, man.
But that didn't change anything. So anyways, even though I was shaking in my boots, I walked right back up. I went and sat in the room with my dad. I shut the door and I said, I got something to say between me and you. And he said, all right, I'm listening. And I looked him in the eyes and said, I forgive you for not protecting me from my mother, having her turn me away from you. And I resented you because of that, and I had hate in my heart towards you, and I realized that's wrong. So I forgive you. I'm doing this for me, not for you. And he said, I perfectly understand. He said, I know exactly what you're talking about. He even told me it was the generational curse. I don't know. Like I was telling you, he went to Bible school and stuff, so he's knows certain things intellectually. But he said, I know what you're talking about. And then he said, how can I do better in the future? And I said, we were planning a vacation this month. We were going to go to L.A. maybe, but maybe I'll say that for next vacation. But I said we should go see your mother, and you can forgive her. And
nice.
he said that's going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. He doesn't know how he's going to do it, and I told him how to do it. I said, look her in the eye, and exactly what I've been saying. So
right on.
And
man.
I had the best sleep of my life last night. The best sleep of my life.
Amazing, amazing.
And I've been doing the silent prayer, and I'm going to keep doing it morning and night.
Stay with it, Greg. You haven't seen anything, because now the light is going to destroy the darkness of the imagination, all thoughts except for practice of one. It's going to get rid of that, all the vices and everything, and you will have a clear mind, and you'll just live. You'll just be without worry, without jealousy, without envy and strife, and you'll just be a free man right here on earth. You have paradise right here. That is amazing. And your father, when your father said it was a generation curse, most of the time, I don't know what he is, I have met, but most of the people are saying that this thing is being passed on from generation to generation because no one ever deal with it to overcome the anger. And that's what you have done. And so if you should ever get married or not, you would pass on love to your generation, to your children, and it would be all over. It's over. It stopped with you, the curse of resentment, of anger and jealousy. It stopped with you, and now you're creating a new generation.
That's amazing.
Amazing. That is, stay with it, man. Amazing story. Let me know if your father should forgive his mother and what happened.
All right, I'll call back. Can I add one last thing?
Yes.
I was just going to say I love the Great White Hope, and I've loved him since 2015, and I've been going to his rallies ever since he's been coming to Buffalo. I once seen him in Pennsylvania, could not see the end of the crowd in 2020, could not see the end of the crowd.
Amazing.
So you know what that means. You know what that means about that election. Also, I also seen him at the Capitol in 2021. He gave a great speech that day, and it was a good day.
The Great White Hope. Thank you, man, and God bless you. Stay with it, all right?
I will. Morning and night. Have a good day, sir.
All right, buddy. Forgiveness, folks, is the way to go to be free. There's nothing else that's going to free you up until you forgive your mothers and return to your fathers. There will come a day when I return the children, boys and girls, to the fathers, and the fathers to the children, men and women to their fathers. That's where the freedom is. You got to come back home. You're lost in the wilderness. You need to return to the Father. and you'll be fine. And all this mess that you've been thinking and the brainwashing, the wrong type of teaching and all that would disappear. You will see that there is no past, no future. You will see that there's only now. And you will not judge your fellow man, but you will wish them well because you will see that they can't see. They just don't know. They can't help themselves. Let me go to Jonathan, who's been waiting a long time. My first time call. There's one line open at 888-7753-773. Jonathan out of first time call out of Colorado. Jonathan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. Your content's amazing. No lie about that.
Thank you.
Of course. My question for you is, I've been listening to your content for about 6 months now. Started with the Fallen State, transitioned into JLP, and then I started watching the church. I've adapted to the silent prayer.
Yeah.
I've been doing it night and day. Been going strong now for 3 months with that. When I first started, I had more thoughts in my brain or in my mind that I would analyze or watch and understand. But now I'm getting into a place where there's not many thoughts, and it's just kind of calm in my mind when I'm doing the silent prayer for about 15 minutes, sometimes a little more. So I just wanted to understand, is that a normal thing? Is that where I'm supposed to be? Or, is something not right?
So it's a normal thing, what? Repeat that.
A normal thing as far as the thoughts settling down. And so when I'm in silent prayer,
yeah,
there's not a lot of thoughts processing through my mind. It just seems very calm or flatline. Maybe one thought, maybe two, but even those, they stayed. So I just am in that moment.
Yes.
And I've shared the silent prayer with a lot of people in my experience. Getting rid of anger has probably been one of the best things I could have ever done in my life, and it really opens my eyes to recognizing and noticing things, and seeing people's reactions, and just understanding them. It's not them; it's their situation, their evil spirit, and you just see it, and you're like, okay, I see what's going on there, and you don't have no reaction to it. But the silent prayers, I'm a little bit uncertain, just because now in my silent prayer, there's not many thoughts. It's
beautiful. And absolutely, man, because the light is shining on the darkness, which are the thoughts. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. So the light is shining on the darkness, which are the thoughts. And as the light is shining on the darkness, the thoughts, it is the spirit, the nature, the identity of the devil. And so they are being taken away from you. And if you, not only will you, during the silent prayer, they're going to get less. After a while, you're going to sit still, and there will be no thoughts because the darkness cannot handle the light, right? They'll be gone. But during the day, practice bringing your mind back to your body, and eventually, Jonathan, you will have no thoughts, and that's where you want to be. You want to live a life of no thoughts, and that will happen if you stay with it, because the nature of the devil, which are thoughts and emotions, will be taken away from you, period. And you'll be free. Amazing. So that's normal. That is normal that is happening because the light of God, the nature of God, the love of God is destroying the darkness of the imagination, the nature of the imagination, the thoughts of the imagination, which is the nature of the devil. From the imagination, it would disappear. It would disappear.
Nice.
So you're on the right track. Stay there and just watch. And whatever the thoughts tell you about the silent prayer, don't believe it. Let it pass. And just all you have to do is to watch the thoughts. There's nothing else to do about them because it's dark spirits, and the light will take care of the darkness. It will destroy it. You'll be fine.
Nice. All right.
Amazing,
that's
man.
Pretty much amazing. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm married. I have my wife and all that kind of good stuff. I did forgive my mom, you know, for the hell she put me through.
Yeah.
And I believe 100%. You know, I sometimes I'm like, when I tell the women, I just try to stay quiet because I don't want to bring the hell out of them. But it's true. Women, you know, they react so strongly to their feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
They don't have peace.
Yeah.
They have no peace.
Yeah.
You know, and being married, my wife, she still struggles with it. I'm working with her, and I'm being patient. You know, but I can see that it's going to be a harder thing for her to get over or get through than it is for me. For me, I just make that choice. I just choose to, you know, relax and just listen and understand situations and not have a reaction to it, just hear it. But she just, you know, she's like a fuse. She just lights up.
So she's not working on herself at all at this point?
At this point, she reads her Bible and, you know, she watches the sermons. And we go to church every Sunday. I go to church just for community. I like just the fellowship, and
right.
You know, I get involved in some of the groups, and you know, some of the people, they like to listen to me, and they love the understandings that I'm creating from your podcast. They like, what? I ain't never thought like that, because I talk to a lot of men.
Yeah,
and it's incredible. But yeah, with her, she thinks that just reading her Bible, that's gonna make her life better, and I just. It's not that. It's the anger. You got to get rid of the anger.
You got to get rid
of the anger.
Yeah.
She did apologize to her mother, or not apologize, ask for forgiveness, and that was actually a pretty cool experience for her, and it worked for a cool while. But I told her, you need to do your dad next, and she said, I ain't forgiving Daddy. So
she told her mother. She told her mother she was sorry for resenting her.
She did, yes.
And why won't she forgive her father? She's never going to know God if she doesn't forgive her father.
And I agree with you 110%, you know, and as much as I can advise her and counsel her in that, ultimately it's when she's ready to make that decision and choice. You know, I can't force the issue with her.
Yeah.
It's there, and I want her to, and I think it will be the greatest thing for her. Yeah. But I do believe it's just something that she's working on within herself to get to before she can actually make that big change. But the experience for her and her mom, she said it was amazing. And I thought they were both the devil.
That's right, like mama, like daughter.
Yeah, that's exactly what her mom said. She said, "Oh, I still struggle with those things." And my wife came back to me. She said, "Babe, my mom struggles with the same things that I struggle with." And I said, "What do you know?" Yeah,
every human being does. Every human being. Yeah. It's the same thing. You have children with her?
I don't. She actually, and you're probably going to say something about this, but she has her child before me, and then I have a child with my son's mom, I guess you can say. So I have a son. She has a son. Her son lives with us. My son lives in Vegas.
Your son live with who?
My son lives with his mama.
Oh, why doesn't he live with you?
Because I've been working to get my son with me for quite some time now, but it just hasn't worked out in my favor.
Oh, okay.
His mom had a daughter. I was going to take her to court and fight for my son's custody, but she had a daughter. And since she had the daughter, I looked at it as, you know, I'm not taking my son away from his mom or bringing him back to me where he's right. You know, I felt like I will be taking him away from his little sister. So once she had the baby, I made the decision to myself, I'm going to let him stay with his mom. I just got to be there for him. So I talk to him regularly. We have FaceTime calls. He just left Colorado a few weeks ago. He was out here for a week and a half. So I have a great relationship with my son, and I'm just making sure that, you know, he understands that I'm there. I love him. I'm his guidance, and I tell him, you just got to be forgiving of your mama because she's going to let the hell out on you, and you just got to be a man and not react to your emotions like she does. I said you just need to understand.
But your
that,
son, your son needs you more than he needs his sister.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, his sister is not going to fulfill that emptiness that he's going to. Well, at least you guys, so far, you're seeing him, you're talking to him, you're being with him. But if she ever take him away and not let you see him, that void can only be fulfilled by you, not the mother, not the sister, or anyone else.
I agreed 100%. And, you know, I give him the experience. I stay in his ear, and he's 14 now, so he's getting older and becoming a young man. And I just told him, you know, my doors are open.
Right
if you ever feel the need to come here. And I just set the example. I lead by example.
Nice.
That's my form of leadership. I'm not trying to tell him what to do or how to be or how to act. I just said, dude, you're growing up. I just need you to understand one thing. The decisions and the choices that you make in your life, they're yours. And you're going to have to pay the consequences for your actions. I'm here for you. I love you. I'll always have your back.
What
but I
made
need
you
you to
marry a
understand
woman that already had a kid?
You know what? I didn't have your podcast before I married her.
I understand it, man. I totally understand.
You know.
Well, I wish
but I'm
you-
married, and she's loyal. She's not unfaithful, and you know, as much as she tries to be a better woman, I just, you know, at the end of the day, I'm the man, and the only way she's going to learn is by my leadership. So she's a believer. So there's hope in this marriage. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
I just got to be patient with her. She's coming around.
Well, I wish you well, man. I wish you well and your whole family there. And especially your son. I'm glad that at least he can see you. He come out to visit, he talk to you, and that's better than nothing at all, for sure.
Oh yeah, when he came over this last time, he's like, you know, Dad, he's like, over here at your house, he's like, the grass is greener over here. He's like, and you know, it's just peaceful.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I'm not going to yell at you. You know, I'm not here to control you. I'm
Right
here
on.
to work with you and just lead you and guide you. But
Nice.
you got to make your own decision. And
Dennis-
in his house, it's not the same. You know, it's not peaceful over there for him. And so I'm confident that, you know, when he's ready, the day might come where he'd be like, I want to go live with my dad.
That's right.
And the door's open. He's more than welcome, and I'm ready for him whenever he's ready. So
Right on.
that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Amazing call, Jonathan. Thank you, man. Call me again, all right?
I appreciate it. You have a good one.
You too, buddy. Amazing. 888-775-3773. Let me go to Michael out of North Carolina. Michael, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for taking my call. I just have to disagree with your analysis from the call from, I believe it was Larry. I think Larry definitely should be commended how he handled the situation, a young 18-year-old, where he kind of diffused the situation. He definitely should be commended how he handled the situation. I don't think that was the perfect way to handle it, though.
He didn't diffuse the situation. There was no situation.
No, he did.
No.
Yeah, he diffused it. He diffused it by just by leaving. He diffused it by leaving.
Well, he diffused it. He didn't diffuse it. It just never was a situation, especially not for him because he understood. And when you have understanding, there are no situations.
Well, it wasn't a situation because he left. But here's my point, and this is where my disagreement is. Just because he's 18 years old and because he's black, that doesn't mean he's sketchy. So I mean that's the issue there. I think.
Well, he didn't say he was sketchy because he was black. It's not like the way he was dressed or something.
No, he said I'm 18 and black,
right,
and I'm looking sketchy,
right.
So,
but it wasn't because of his color that he was looking sketchy. He just made the point that he is 18. He is black.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
He is black, and he's, I guess, dressed sketchy.
He didn't say he was.
And he
dressed
was
sketchy.
outside of someone else's house.
But he didn't say he was dressed sketchy.
He
and
did.
You didn't
He
say
said,
he was dressed
and I'm
sketchy.
looking
So
sketchy.
Exactly. I'm looking sketchy. That's not dress sketchy.
Why are you reading all that other stuff into it?
I'm not reading anything. I'm just
You
saying
are.
what you just. I'm not, Jesse. Jesse, he said, I'm 18-year-old, I'm black, and I'm looking sketchy. He didn't say anything about dress. I'm glad to hear you say it's not because he's black, because that's the first time that's come out. I'm glad to hear you say it's not because I'm black.
I didn't think anyone would be thinking, it didn't make sense that
Oh,
you would think.
a lot of people think that, Jesse.
But that's not making
A lot of
any
people
sense,
think
though.
that.
That's insane.
Exactly. I agree.
The young man didn't say it was because he was, his color that he was looking sketchy. It was because of the way it sounded like the way he was dressed or something.
No, you said sounds like. That. He didn't say that, and no one has said that until you're saying it now. But I'm glad to hear
No
you
one
say
is
that.
saying what?
No one has said it's because other reasons other than him being black. But I'm glad to hear.
That's what you
say
said.
that. I didn't say it was. All I'm saying is I just want to make sure that people understand just because you're 18 years old and you're black, that doesn't mean you're sketchy. I have an 18-year-old son. A lot of people in this world will see him that way. That's just the reality. A lot of people in the world will see him that way.
And why would they? Why would they see it? Why would they see it that way?
Because that's the world that we live in, Jesse.
No,
and no
that's
one
not
knows.
the reason that they see it that way.
Oh, that is.
No, it's not.
That's the world we live in.
No, it's that way because that's how the blacks. That's how the blacks have been presenting themselves over the years.
No, it's not, Jesse.
It
no,
is.
It's not. That's not. No, it's not. That's not how I present myself. That's how my parents present myself. That's not how I was taught to present myself. Because we know
let
the
me tell you what
reality
Larry
of the world that
said.
we live in.
For those who missed that call, it was in the first hour today. Larry from Indiana called, and he's 18 years old. He was talking about how he forgave his mother, and she had a hissy fit, got violent with him, according to Larry. And Larry moved out. He moved to Indiana from whatever state he was in, and he forgave her. He moved out, 18 years old, got a job in less than a week or so, about a week. He was talking to me on the phone. He was parked in front of a house there, and a white woman, he said, came out and was taking the pictures, and he like, Jesse, I'm going to go because I'm 18, I'm black, and I'm looking a little sketchy. And it was a perfect way to deal with that, whereas the average black would have gotten mad and jumped out the car and yelling racism and feminine and putting it on YouTube and just making a mess out of nothing.
Jesse, that's not
Larry
fair.
said that
you have no basis to say that.
Hold on a minute. Larry said, he did say it was cause he was color, he was black. And well, what would it show that he was? Oh, and I really, and he had common sense about the situation because he understood that because of the way the blacks have been presenting themselves and acting over the years, people just don't know. So he did the right thing, not taking it personal, and he left, which was the right thing to do, don't you think, Michael?
No, I think he handled himself very well.
Right.
The point I want to make is just because you're black and young doesn't mean you're sketchy. And you agree with me. That's the point I want to make.
I don't agree with that because I don't understand what you're saying, to be honest with you.
I'm saying
so I do not agree with you on that.
Okay. Well, I'm saying a lot of people in this country see 18-year-old young blacks as sketchy, as threatening.
And you know why, right?
Yeah, because that's their issue. That's their issue.
You know why they see the blacks like that, right?
Let me go to your other comment and your other caller.
Michael, you know why they see the blacks like that, right?
If you give me like 3 seconds, I'll tell you, Jesse. And it relates to your other caller and it relates to something else you said. This is why. When you think the biggest thing that hurt blacks in America is civil rights,
Larry, I asked you a question. I got to run. You're not going to answer that question.
I'm answering it.
No, I asked you. You know why? You know why, Larry?
If you let me answer,
you know why, Larry?
I do.
Hold on, man.
Yes.
Calm down. You know why Larry understood how that white woman would see him that way, right?
I can answer.
And you know why the black youth are being seen the way that they were being seen, right?
Can I answer now?
Yes.
Okay. This is the reason why. The biggest problem that blacks have had in this country is not civil rights. It's slavery. And we've never
Larry, you're not answering the question. I got to run. I got to take a break. Back in a moment. He's trying to put other false information out there. I'll be back in a moment. Oh, the treasure chest is now open on D-Line. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, But because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true, it's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father. Because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663. And we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. One interesting point that was made with Michael Call, you saw the difference between Larry, the black 18-year-old, who dealt with a situation in a perfect way, whereas Michael, and I understand that Michael, that you can't see yet, he see it in an imperfect way. And I understand that. This is why you got to overcome the anger. Because as long as you have anger, you're never going to see how to deal with any situation in a perfect way. So I do understand it. And I was trying to get Micah to answer that question, but he wanted to jump over it for some reason. Thank you, though, Micah. I appreciate it. The Hake report is coming up at the top of this hour. The Hake report.com from 9 to 11. And then at 11 a.m., a brand new show that started last Wednesday, and will be every Wednesday for now, is Wow Hassan. Wow Hassan. Walking on water with his dog. Who let the dog out? Hassan is on every Wednesday now at 11 a.m. You don't want to miss it. And then at 12 noon, Hassan has a very interesting thing coming up for you today, too, if it happens. He's hoping it can happen. And it's going to be interesting. But at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. And for personalized, from 12 noon Pacific time, all right? And don't forget for personalized shout-outs, weddings, congratulations, encouragements, whatever the occasion is. Shout out, birthdays, you can go to Cameo, CAMEO.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, CAMEO.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. And to make donations and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP, buymeacoffee.com/JLP, or Bond JLP Cash App, Bond JLP Cash App. Before I go back to the calls here, I really want you to encourage you to listen to the first hour of the show today. It was amazing. Larry, an 18-year-old black guy, can now see, and he's dealing with life in the way that we all will deal with it when you wake up. All right? Super chat. Super.
Stan 69 with a diamond explaining his thing about Biden giving money to Karan, Karan, in that he says, I meant the black guy in the video of the first hour. And as Hassan pointed out, it may have been one of those blacks who was talking about black being for Trump.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's real or what he's talking about still, but thank you, Stan69, for the diamond and explanation.
Thank you.
Henry Ford Lives gave a diamond. No political solution. to a spiritual problem.
That's right. That's for sure. No, nothing physical can change the inner man or inner woman. Only a new birth, spiritual birth, a return to the Father. Really. That it's so simple and yet so amazing and yet so misunderstood. People won't do it. Some, a whole lot are doing it now. They just didn't know that they needed to forgive. But once they do it, men and women, they're starting to finally live in perfect peace. Amazing. Thank you.
Riley JM bought a coffee. Why do women wear super short shorts? I sometimes see men wearing super short shorts. It is a woman thing, though. Women, what were you about to say?
No.
Women love those short shorts and yoga pants if it isn't too hot outside. It's the same old thing everywhere I go. Women wear the same stuff. It shows to me that they are making their bodies an idol for men to worship and other women to be jealous of. What happened to the women wearing dresses and slim-fit jeans? I don't see them much anymore, he says. Riley JM.
They are looking for a father's love. They really are. They're looking for love, and they're using their bodies to try to get their attention, thinking that that's going to fulfill them. It's really interesting, too, to watch these women wear this stuff all out in the stores and everywhere. But they're just looking for a father's love. That's what that is. Amazing. Thank you.
On D Live, Henry Ford Lives says, Blats for Trump. Make America gangsta again. What the?
That's right. Amazing. It's amazing the impact that the great white hope, Donald Trump, is having on the world. Not just America, but the whole wide world. And the beauty of that is that is in every human being if they were to return to it. Just like you impact the world with evil, you can impact the world with good if you are of good, if you no longer have anger. Really. Amazing. Thank you.
Riley JM bought a coffee. Nice instrumental for the break at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The drums, bass, and little guitar lick is cool. Nice, man. Nice.
Thank you. Huzzah.
And we have some biblical question responses from the biblical question on social media.
What sense does it make to fight anything or anyone? What sense does it make?
Well, Ryan at minds.com/Jesse Lee Peterson says, how do you define fight? The world is a battle of wills. Join the fight or accept the wills of others, he says, which might somewhat be a response. I think it's sort of a response.
To the biblical question? Mm-hmm. It sounds like a question.
Well, that was a question at the beginning, but he says, the world is a battle of wills. Join the fight or accept the wills of others, meaning let other people impose their will on you, is what he's saying, I think.
Oh, I don't quite is it Mike?
No, it's Ryan.
Ryan, I don't quite understand that response, but I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
123 Not Me ripped off on Gab says, imposing your will to get what you want is natural behavior.
Is that a response to the Bible?
Yeah, these are all biblical question responses.
And what they say?
Imposing your will to get what you want is natural behavior.
So that's his definition for
why it's what sense it makes.
Okay, thank you. I'll put my 2 cents in on Sunday. Amazing.
Patrioti says evil needs to be fought. Jesus picked up a rod and physically beat the Jews to stop them from defiling the temple of God. Jesus also said he didn't come to bring peace, but a sword.
Amazing. Thank you.
So that's what sense it makes, Jesse.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Kalki Das says on Twitter, also known as X, sometimes fighting is enjoyable if it's not done in anger.
Interesting. Thank you.
And Jehu Vibes, Romans 1:22 says, ask Moses, Elijah, David, and Jesus what sense it makes.
Amazing.
Jacob Keeley over on Facebook says, to be a light in the darkness is what sense it makes to fight.
Okay.
Caleb on Facebook says, people desire control over what they can't. They might even fight for it. So I don't know if he's saying that I guess he's saying that it doesn't necessarily make sense, but that's why they do it.
Okay. Thank you.
On IG, Israel the Blackbearded says, when the wicked prosper, the righteous die out, and the world goes dark.
That's why they fight.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
SMCSW_ says, for the sake of freedom, yes. The WEF, World Economic Forum, are turning the West into China. It makes perfect sense for us to fight against these satanic global PDF globalists, in turn protecting the freedom of our future generations, or we can let them walk all over us. I cleaned up his chat a little bit.
Okay. Amazing.
And last one for now. Chris 1990p says, it makes 2 cents on Sunday. Laughing face emoji. Because you give your little 2 cents on Sunday.
Right.
So
Nice.
thank you, guys. We'll read more of your biblical question responses this week.
Thank you all for your super chats and responses. Amazing. I had this thing I wanted to present to you during this manhood hour, but I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to take some calls and your super chats, and if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, I can do this tomorrow. My producer put together an amazing package, and it's amazing that he get up and go and does this, and some of the stuff I don't even get to. What the? Amazing. Let me go to a first-time caller out of Nashville, Tennessee, Derek. Derek, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Jesse, thanks for taking my call.
Yes,
God
sir.
bless you. I need some help with my fiance, and we love your political commentary, but I've been soaking in this last month all of your spiritual talkings, and I will tell you, I've realized that I've had an abnormal life. I used to call it normal. Like, my mom and dad are still married. My dad's the head of the household.
Is he the head? Is he the head of your mother?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, she follows him.
Okay.
It's so bizarre. And I had 2 sets of grandparents that did that, and 2 sets of great grandparents that I knew that did that. And I realized that's abnormal. Most people don't get that gift, right? And I will tell you, I've got this young lady, my fiance. The abusive household she came from, I can hardly get my head around it. And we've been listening to you, and it was so clear to me. I told her, I go, you have to forgive your mother. And I've been trying to lead my household, right? And I realized I was doing a poor job of it, because I realized she would get angry with me, and then I would get angry. And I don't hold on to anger, but I know when I feel anger, it's an indicator that I'm doing something wrong. I need to stop. Something is wrong, right? And I adjusted my approach, and I go, because we listened to something you said, because you can't love if you hate. And I'm like, oh yeah, it makes so much sense. And she sat down with me, and she goes, I don't know how to forgive. I don't know what it is. And I know the freedom of forgiveness, the absolute freedom. That's why when I feel anger, because I've been forgiven and I can forgive it, I feel this absolute freedom in it. Yet I can't describe it to this woman. I'm having a challenge leading her towards forgiveness, because I don't know how to get her, because people can say, oh, I forgive you. You can say the words, but if you don't know what it means, it's not real.
Yeah.
And I'd really appreciate your guidance on this.
And your question for me is what?
How do I define, well, how do I tell her how to forgive?
Before I respond to that, have you gone and forgiven your mother?
I haven't, because I guess it's a good question. I don't feel like there's anything to forget. I had the most beautiful life, like my mom and dad. Like, I have this beautiful family. that I want to emulate, actually.
Then where
right?
did your
like we are very close.
Where
Go ahead,
did
I'm
your
sorry.
anger come from if your mother is so beautiful and wonderful?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not certain.
So your mother haven't irritated you or get you angry about anything while growing up or any time?
I actually struggle. Like well, little things like you get off. I'm a bit older. I'm 43, and she get off the phone, and this is before cell phones and just like teenager stuff. But I had a very relatively pure household, if you will.
Have you forgiven her for those little things?
Well, to be honest with you, I never realized that was something that needed forgiveness.
The anger that you have in dealing with this woman you're with now is the anger of your mother. And until you forgive her, you're not going to be able to deal with this woman that you're with, because the woman you're with is your mother, and you're going to end up becoming like your father, giving in to the mother. And this woman going to do the same thing to your children if you should have them, that the little things that you're not paying attention to, it's going to be the same with your children that has happened to you from your mother.
Let me ask you, can the cycle be broken then?
Yeah.
Meaning, is there a way that when I have children with this woman, that they won't have to ask her for forgiveness? Does that make sense?
Well, they shouldn't ask for forgiveness. They should forgive her for what she's done. Don't ever ask for forgiveness. But it's not going to be broken if she doesn't if you don't overcome your anger before marriage, and if she doesn't overcome hers, it's just going to be the same thing repeating itself generation after generation. Because an angry person don't have love. You only have anger, which is the nature of the devil.
Right. So I guess what I'm asking is, if we have the courage to take that great gift from God, is there a scenario where, if we do it right, in a holy way, that our children, if we do the work now, is there a scenario where our children don't have to ask us, or don't have to forgive us, rather?
Only if you raise them by the light of God, they won't have to forgive you, because you will raise them in perfect love. But if you don't, they will have to forgive you, because you're going to raise them in hate, emotional hate, and you're going to call it love.
And Jesse, I'll tell you, and I'm so grateful for your guidance. The thing I really believe I had this beautiful childhood. The things that my future wife went through are so horrific. I can't believe a mother would do these things to a daughter.
But the thing you went through is as bad as the thing she went through. Her physical condition may have been a little worse than yours, but the fact that your mother caused you to become angry, destroying your soul, it's the same thing that her mother did to her. Her physical conditions may be bad, but you may have a beautiful outside condition, but inwardly it was messed up. But
I've never thought of it that way, and I'm great. I'm so grateful for your perspective. Because I guess what I do is I compare. When I hear people talk about their families or the lack thereof, I'm very proud, of my family and what they gave to me.
And that's why you don't see what's happening inside of you. It's because you're proud and you compare and you do this. And if you didn't do any of those things at all, then you'll be able to see, and you will see what's going on inside of you, and you will go and forgive your parents as well. Every human being has to forgive their parents. You must be born of the Father. Every human being must be born through the woman. You're born into hell. And you overcome the hell by returning to your Father.
So if I understand what you're saying, and I'm not sure I do, because we're sinners, I must forgive my parents, and no matter what, I have to start off with love as best I can. My children will one day have to forgive me too.
No, if you speak in a language that I don't quite understand, but if you forgive your mother and forgive your father for not protecting you from your mother, God will forgive you, and he will change your heart, which is to sin. The sin is of the heart. Anyone that has anger is sinning because their hearts are wicked. So if you forgive, God will change your heart, and he will replace the evil heart with his heart, which is love, perfect love. And in that, he will guide you and your wife and your children, if your wife want to be guided. And you will only pass on love. But if your wife doesn't change her heart, if her heart doesn't change from hate to love, she's going to give them hate anyway, because that's all she will have is anger, which is hate. She will have no love to pass on to the children.
I agree. Yeah, and I agree. I never considered the anger that I had, because it didn't seem like that. When you describe it that way, I'm like, I can do that. I can go to and I need to do that. I agree with you. And I need to do it immediately.
Forgive them, because you're not going to be able to help your wife with anger. If you have anger, you can't. The darkness cannot help the darkness. It's the light that can help the darkness, if the darkness want the light. When are you planning on marrying this woman?
Next year. I was married before. I thank goodness I didn't have any children. I believe God has blessed me, and it's an opportunity to lead, and I have to lead myself first. And I'm so grateful for you taking the call. But next year, we don't have a date yet, but there's no need for a long engagement because we want to start making babies. So
she doesn't have any children?
No. She's a bit younger than me. I'm 43. She's 26, and I actually thought the possibility of having children was gone, and it feels like this. And I thought I never wanted any, but when I got back to my faith and got back to God, I realized that's the only thing I'm commanded to do is have a family. It feels like
how are you going to lead her when you haven't forgiven?
You're right.
No, that was a question.
You're right. Oh, well, I can't unless I forgive, as you said. Yeah, and I didn't consider it the way you explained. I agree with you. I need to do that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can see it. It's I let little things build up in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And this woman you get involved with is just like your mama. You're about to marry your mama, and do what you want, of course, but I would recommend before you marry her that you work on that. Otherwise, you're just going to catch real hell.
What do you mean by work on that? What do you mean by that?
By you forgiving your mother, return to your father, by forgiving him, and she forgiving her mother, return to her father, return to her father. Otherwise, it's just going to be hell for you. You're about to repeat the same thing because you're in prison, and you don't realize you walk around in your cell and you think you're finding something different and something new, but it's the same thing.
But it's not.
It's the same thing that's the first wife you had.
And but I'm confident if I understand anything you said is that if I do that, then everything can be new.
But don't do it. Don't do it. It will be new, absolutely. But don't do it because you're trying to please something or make something happen on the outside of you. You do it because you want your soul back. You want to live in paradise on earth. Can you call me tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Call me tomorrow, and I'll take your call as soon as you call in. Remind the screener that you called me. I'm about to run out of time. Call me tomorrow.
Jesse, God bless you. Thanks for your help. I very much appreciate it.
You're welcome, buddy. I got to go. The Hake Report coming up now. The Hake Report, become your own man, become your own woman. Get on that straight and narrow, folks. You will have life, but you got to drop death by dropping anger. I'll be back tomorrow. Emmanuel from Canada, Michael from Los Angeles, Chase from Texas, and Joe from Arizona, I believe. I'm out of time. I'll be back tomorrow. Bible Thumper Thursday tomorrow. Hake Report is coming up now.
Stand up. We got fighting to do. We gotta show him who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never want to stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understand in the lose. You better go talk to your mama. Better stop at the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up and up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if you don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa.
Know that so you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause you must know that so you get something went wrong, but and just seek first God's kingdom, cause I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Other than sex, I wonder, why would a man even need a woman today? Women don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They're in competition with men. They don't want to be wives and mothers. Some want to get married, but they don't want to live in that proper position of life. Because the only purpose of marriage is to have a family. And that's been known forever. And so if you don't want to have children, there is no need to get married. And so I was wondering, why would a man even get married today? I never thought I'd see the day when women would come out of her natural role and be like a man. Even though she hate that role. When she was with a man that's weak, she hate him. But if he try to be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal.